Hi, welcome to the EV Ready training series powered by FleetWise. We're still looking in the analysis phase of your transition. So let's have a look now at carbon reduction. You may have captured in your evaluation stage the reasons why you want to go electric as a fleet. And it might be because you think you have to, because of the ban on sale of petrol and diesel. It might be because you think it will save you money as a business. It might be because your drivers are asking you to because it will save them money. But it might be because you have a corporate commitment to reduce your carbon footprint. That would be covered under something called your ESG, or environmental, social and governance. So if you have a corporate commitment to reduce your carbon footprint, clearly moving your fleet to electric will be a significant step along that road. However you look at electric vehicles, even though they have a significantly higher carbon footprint in their manufacture because of the battery and the mining of the elements for that, we have enough studies now to effectively and comprehensively prove that an electric vehicle will be anywhere between 30 and 70% more carbon efficient than a petrol or diesel vehicle over its lifetime. So yes, you might start with a higher carbon footprint, but you pay back that carbon debt the more you drive it, because you have zero emissions coming out of your tailpipe, and the more you drive, the more that pays back the carbon debt. The payback can take over. Effectively, the vehicle becomes more carbon efficient than a petrol diesel vehicle, anywhere between 12 and 20,000 miles of driving. Why the variance, you might say? Well, it depends on where you get your electricity from to refuel the vehicle. If you are generating electricity from renewable sources like wind or solar and using that to power your vehicle, therefore you've aligned with an energy provider who does that a lot, then you'll be nearer the 12,000 mile payback mileage. If you are in a country that is typically using coal in their energy grid, and therefore still quite a dirty national grid, and that might be the likes of China or Poland or Germany or possibly areas of the United States still, then you may be nearer the 20,000 miles to pay it back. But either way, your electric vehicle will be kinder to the environment over its life than a petrol or diesel vehicle. Now, if carbon footprint is important to you and it is a reason for you to go electric, you are probably going to want to measure the effectiveness of your transition to electric. So measuring your carbon reduction, if you're a large global company, you probably have departments who are involved in this. Maybe you have a head of sustainability or a head of carbon reduction. But if you're a small business with 5, 10, 15 employees, it's very unlikely you will have departments like that. So it starts to make a lot of sense to outsource the carbon reduction of your fleet, or the measurement of the carbon reduction of your fleet, to third-party providers. And there are many providers who can do this for you. So you can start to just engage a specialist who comes in and advises, but also measures and reports on how you are and how you can reduce your carbon footprint. They'll also talk to you about what you can do in terms of mindset here. So you might think, yes, I can carry on driving my huge gas guzzling petrol diesel cars and just plant some trees, and isn't that a great contribution to the environment? Well, not really. It would be far more effective to seek to reduce your carbon footprint wherever you can, including transition to electric vehicles, and then try and offset anything that you can't remove. So don't just carry on what you're doing forever with petrol diesel cars and just plant some trees to offset the carbon you've generated. It doesn't really work. It doesn't really help the planet. What I would suggest is seek to reduce your carbon footprint wherever you can to the lowest possible level, and then offset anything you can't. You may think that carbon reduction and carbon offsetting is only about planting trees, but there are many other ways you can offset your carbon, and if you engage a third-party specialist, they will take you through all of these options for you. Yes, of course, you can plant trees in your local area, and that may be the best solution for you to create more oxygen in the environment and more CO2, and less CO2. But it may not be the most effective if you're looking to have the biggest impact on a global scale. It may well be more effective for you to pay to remove some methane stoves in Kenya than it is to plant some trees in your county in the United Kingdom. So it's just about whether you want to help your local area. Maybe it's an air quality thing for you, and how can you improve the air quality in your area? So these are things to have conversations with your carbon reduction specialist if you've outsourced, or with your sustainability team or head of carbon reduction if you're a larger business and you have dedicated resource to that. The other point to bear in mind around carbon reduction is if you are operating or considering a salary sacrifice scheme for all employees. Now that's typically an employee benefit rather than a replacement for a company car scheme. So it's quite common that one sits alongside the other, company car scheme and then an employee benefit salary sacrifice scheme. The advantage from a carbon reduction perspective of a salary sacrifice scheme is when you're measuring your carbon output as a business, you will be measuring it in things called scopes. And you have a scope 1 emissions, which in broad terms is your direct emissions, your scope 2 emissions, which might be your indirect emissions, like which energy provider are you drawing your energy from, and then your scope 3 emissions, which might also form part of your supply chain. So look out to all of the companies that are supplying you and what's their carbon footprint like, because it starts to impact what yours looks like. Here's the thing with salary sacrifice though, the mileage that every driver undertakes to come to work, the commuting mileage, counts in a company's scope 3 emissions if you're measuring carbon reduction. So if you're encouraging your employees to get into a salary sacrifice scheme, which is predominantly focusing on electric zero emission vehicles, then you will be making even more significant impact into your carbon reduction through your scope 3 emissions. Your company car fleet is probably more in your scope 1 emissions, but if you are really focused on carbon reduction as a reason for going electric, then engage with the right people to measure it properly for you and look at all of the ways you can reduce your carbon before you then think about offsetting anything that you can't reduce or remove. So a few things around carbon reduction, if it is of relevance to you. If you'd like to listen to that one again, go to fleetwise.info, where you can also see more videos in the series. Thank you.